Welcome everyone to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, April 1st. We start the month on the right foot for sure, on the right note as well. 7:38 p.m. Thank you so much for being live. This is Loud and Proud Orlando. Obviously, John had some work commitments that he had to take care of, so he won't be with us today. But we have Paola with us, and we come from a game that, we are missing the title of the pot today, which is Final Touch, and we'll discuss all of that and more. Hard fought battle. I feel we dominated in the end. I think Orlando dominated the first half completely, and try, but no one can seem to score. We'll discuss all of that and more. Paola, how are you? How you feel after that draw against the Red Bulls?
I mean, I thought that we were gonna lose, to be honest, but when I saw that Jack Glenn goal, I'm like, okay, I can take a tie. It's fine. I mean, it is what it is. Is that final touch, like you said, Luis, like we're missing, and we passed the same phase last season, and it's like I can't find any words or any any anything to analyze what's going on with this team, because like we said before, like it's not new. It's most likely the core are the same player. So a lot of to talk about today in this pod about that game. But I'm doing great. Going back to your question, doing great, even though we only took a point, is better than zero, so we move forward.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to say, um, hold on. I do want to say that Orlando's going to a long break now, and they're gonna have enough time to regain, you know, recollect, fix mistakes, and start brand new. Right now that there's no international duty. And even if we would have had international duty or not, I mean, I think the team has the depth enough to, and the pieces enough to withstand that. Now, people are upset because the team can't score, and I totally understand that. And we'll dive into all of that. Let's read some comments. Victor Sanchez, can Orlando have Jacqueline starting? Sure, they could have Jacqueline start, but now let's dive into the goal itself of what happened. I mean, the goal was deemed to be a known goal. It was not a Jacqueline goal. At first, even when I was at the press box, of course, everyone thought this was a Jacqueline goal. Uh, Certainly, Jack's becoming a player, in my opinion, that has knows where to position himself to score. He's done that in college, and now he's doing it here in the MLS. Now he's going to keep developing and growing. He's been the top striker in the MLS Next Pro last season. So definitely he's doing phenomenal. He needs to be considered. Now, to start, that's up to the coach, right? I believe, the having Duncan and, already playing one whole entire year with Orlando and being one of our leading scorers last season kind of makes Oscar a little bit more. I mean, not to say that he will put all his faith in Lynn, but he puts more trust on Duncan, obviously. I mean, look at that right there. Duncan goes for the foul, he goes for the ball, he also hustles and things like that. So, um, people are complaining about Muriel playing the 10. It's not really up to the system that Oscar uh, is putting out. Um, and the reason why Muriel is playing the 10 is because he sees that there needs to be a connector there. And right now, Facundo Torres, it's not being the DP that we want to be. So he feels that he needs to put the team behind him. And that's why instead of having two strikers, you see him drop. So Duncan takes the 9 spot. So what are your thoughts regarding Jack Lynn and the forward situation, Paola?
I mean, with that goal, that own goal, I think it was we had luck. I'm gonna be honest, but like you said, like Jack Glenn is there where he's supposed to be, and that's something that we haven't seen with Duncan lately, or with Muriel because he's playing the number 10. Um, Now with the system that Oscar is doing, um, I mean, I have my opinions, and probably our other fans are gonna not agree with me or agree, but I think Muriel is is not being utilized where he's supposed to be. Right? He comes from Europe. He's trying to help the team as much as he can, and Oscar sees that. That's why he's playing the number 10 now. The question should be, and are we gonna continue putting him as a 10 or rotate in between Facu or Ojeda to be as a 10 and utilize Muriel as a true attacker? So I think it wasn't his best performance. I saw a little bit more of momentum for Facu in a few times, not in the entire game, but he had more chances than previous games because we haven't seen the 100% Facu that we have seen before. And I think it's just that Oscar is not utilizing him as he should. So I don't know what are your thoughts about that, Luis, if Oscar is utilizing Facu he should.
So you guys have to, and look, I'm not trying to win hearts and minds here. There's about 35 people watching us right now, but 23 people on X and about 10 people on YouTube. I'm not trying to win hearts and minds here, but all I can tell you is this ain't my first rodeo, and that's the only thing I could tell you. And when I hear people just, it's gonna sound really bad. Some people are just nitpicking on Muriel. Also, clearly, it's his first year with Orlando City, coming to a new league like the MLS. Everybody downplays the MLS worldwide, but it's a very physical league. He needs to be on point. I'm sure next season we're going to see a 6-pack or 8-pack or 12-pack Muriel, because people are already noticing that he's eating too much cholo dogs, right? Now, the reason why Muriel is playing that position is very simple. They're having not a understanding when they do a transition attack on how to maintain the 4-4-2 compactly. They divert into a 4-2-3-1 because Lodeiro it's essentially wants to defend because he needs to help Kyle. So who's going to create? Ivan Angulo is trying to run through the flank. Facundo, I think will be the natural option to put Facundo as a 10, but Facundo right now, it's not being Facundo Torres. So Muriel feels, hey, I'm an attacker. I also like to play. Let me drop because I see Duncan in front of me. So automatically in transition becomes a 4-2-3-1, right? So that is why when Oscar in post-press conference talks about Muriel needs still time to gel, that's why, because he needs to know they need to stay all of them in position. Also, Oscar said, if you guys go look at our post game press conference footage, and it's time stamped, by the way, so I made it even simpler for people to go ahead and look. They asked him a question about. I asked him a question about the double pivot. Are we going to see the double pivot again? Because Cesar is back. And no one was expecting Cesar to be back this early. Fortunately for us, Cesar's back now. Now, obviously, he's out of shape, out of rhythm, only with a couple of trainings in him because of medical situation. So obviously, as a coach, you're not going to put Cesar as a starter. I mean, I understand what he represents to the team. I understand the type of season he had last year, but you're not going to put him as a starter just being cleared of an injury with the risk of him to re-injure that hurt again. You understand what I'm saying? So obviously he's going to put Lodero and Kyle Smith because it's what worked, and they've been consistent on the mid the past few games. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, and having you guys understand, and we'll read your comments in just a second. That's the tactical reasons why he did that. Dagger Dan, he's played more than one season as a right back. Yes, his natural position's at D mid, for sure. But he's not ready to put him as a D mid because he sees Kyle has done a great job doing that also. And he prefer to have Dagger Dan help Facu Torres mark people, help defensively, because Facu doesn't defend. So, I think the break's going to help. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I don't know if I explained myself correctly.
No. You explain it as we say in Spanish, arroz y habichuela. Like, you say it clearly to our folks who are listening right now. I mean, it makes sense, and I think this break came in a good momentum for them because it was CONCACAF, then the international break, and all this back-to-back games, and now a break. It will be like, okay, let's recharge, let's mentally think about it, and let's recoup and do it again.
Now, a couple of positives here too. We are seventh in key passes created, according to Opta. 5th in possession of the ball in the whole entire league. 4th in completions, attempts, and progressive distance. I don't know what the hell that is. 3rd in crosses. We got to do better at the crosses. If we're 3rd in crosses created, why are we not capitalizing on those crosses, right? You got to do better.
We need someone there.
Right? And, there is, we are 4th, and listen to this thing, per Opta. 4th most touches in the middle third. The most in attacking third, and 2nd in touches in the 18. So we are, I understand the frustration, but I think we're building something, and I think the schedule didn't help. Now, we can create tons of excuses, but clearly these are not excuses. These is tangible facts. So, and people want to know when Muriel is playing the 10. It's not because he wants to play the 10. It's not because Oscar's telling him to play the 10. It's because of with the opponent that you have in front. In when the sport is played, and you're going into transition attack, mentally, just like you riding a bicycle, these players have been playing for more than 2 seasons on a 4-2-3-1 system. They divert to a 4-2-3-1. That's the reason why.
And the sorry to cut you, but the defense of Red Bulls, they were on point. The defensive line of Red Bulls, they were not easy at all. So just saying.
Yeah, let's read some comments real quick. Didn't realize we run Muriel to replace Pereira. You could definitely say that, and I think people are completely entitled to be, they expect Muriel to be a beast, and he will be a beast. I mean, we've seen what he can do with the ball, but I just feel, they gotta get away from that 4-2-3-1 mentality. So, because he feels, okay, is either Duncan gonna drop back or I'm gonna drop back, unless Oscar tells Duncan, hey, you drop, let Luis play. But inadvertently, when Luis has the ball, he wants to play, he wants to create. It's just his natural instinct. Fans can control the natural instinct of a player. Otherwise, where is it? Otherwise, let's bring out right here. Right, we're all gonna let's control the players, right? Here's my Switch. Well, I'm playing FIFA right here. One thing is FIFA, another thing is real life. right? Rodolfo Chang, why the offense takes too much time to move the ball with one touch. Red Bulls is good but not fast. We play to the Bulls' strengths. No, I mean, I think that's something that we need to be better at. I think our DPs, I don't know, okay, let's talk about a little bit of the negative and then we'll dive into the positive. We already kind of talked about of a positive. Let's talk a little bit about the negative now. Facu Torres, right? SofaScore give him a rating of a 7. I think we're not seeing the same, and I think it's fair to say we're not seeing the same production of Facu Torres, and that's why fans are frustrated also. I don't even see Facu Torres leading the offense when he should. I don't know. What are your thoughts regarding that?
No, yeah, I completely agree. It's like I don't know what's going on. Like, and I understand when he gets the ball, he gets like 3 defenders on top of him, but at the same time, it's not being the same Facu Torres this season. I think the best season that he had thus far with this team was last season. Just my thoughts, but it hasn't been Facu Torres. I don't know if the number change or the haircut is affecting him, but he hasn't been
mentally. This is one of, and I know it's going to sound really harsh, and I know. Facu's a great guy. He's a great player. He's a phenomenal talent, and I'm not trying to downplay that. But this is the reason why Bielsa cut him of Uruguay. Something's happening. I don't know if something's happening. I don't want to get into Pedro Galés' speculations moment with Facu Torres, right? I don't want to plug in. I'm not trying to speculate. I'm just saying maybe the system is not helping him either, right?
I think it's that.
Maybe I think Oscar in this break needs to find, and I feel there's going to be times, and I think Oscar knows this, that he's going to have to do a 4-2-3-1 with certain teams and maybe a 4-4-2 with certain teams. And when he plays, when he has to play a 4-4-2, he needs to have a role and talk to him and say, okay, this is going to be your role in a 4-4-2, and you're going to do you on a 4-2-3-1 when he can play the 10 and he could have pretty much both flanks to move around. Maybe that's it, Paola. In the workplace, you have to sometimes micromanage somebody for that person to work. And there's also people that are not necessarily you need to micromanage them. You don't have to tell them like you're a little kid how to do their job. But there's people that do need a reminder on certain situations. So maybe it's just a learning thing. I don't know. Maybe it's just he's not adapting well to the system. I just feel like people are upset. And also Skeeter Jeep has a great comment here. It's a combination of some of our core players not playing to their potential or previous levels. Santos, Araujo, Angulo, and not having any center penetration presence. I completely agree with you. Let's this is my opinion, and then I'll dive into Paula. Santos came from being benched by Cruzeiro. He really started a few games. Same with Angulo with Palmeiras. They got their break here. And on their first year, boom, they broke out, second in the league. That's how Orlando ended, right? They need to have that intensity. Now, with Angulo, I disagree with Skeeter Jeep. I don't know, what do you think? I think Angulo is playing phenomenal.
No, and he's
playing a
helping
phenomenal game against the
Rafa.
Red Bulls.
He's playing like he's
Right?
helping Rafa, like and going up and down. I mean, I think he deserved a goal for this. Yeah, a little bit more credit for Ivan Angulo. I think here's the thing, Luis. I think people will like to see Angulo, Facu, what we saw last season. They were scoring goals.
I agree. I agree. They can do that. They can do that. But now I agree with Skeeter Jeep. Ivan Angulo feels when he's a starter, he needs to also do defensive work.
That's what. Yep, I was gonna head that way because Santos is not performing like last
Right,
season, and
right,
he had a
exactly.
slow start. So he has two responsibilities: defend and then attack.
So you are signing players too that are one-sided. Then you could definitely make that assumption that you're signing players that are one-sided. So players that are not going to be like Alfonso Davies, for example, to put an example, somebody that can attack and defend. You're putting one-sided players, and you have to understand players that have come from being benched in Serie A in Brazil. They've played the whole careers loaned. Now, I feel that's mental, in my opinion, Paola, because they've demonstrated that they could do it, right? So I feel like Ivan Angulo, maybe he's, because he's everywhere on the right flank helping Rafa, so the backline stays compact, right? And Red Bull doesn't go and scores 3 on us.
Yep.
Clearly, the multitasking doesn't work. Maybe that's it. But I think he played a phenomenal game. I don't know. Ivan played a great game.
No,
Santos,
I agree.
not so much.
No. Santos is not. He's not being the player that we saw after the summer of last year, because he eloped. Like he came out after that Inter Miami versus Orlando City on May last season. That's where he was playing consistently. After that game, before that game, he was bench. He was at the bench because he was not performing as he should. And this is the same reflection that we're seeing this season with Rafael Santos. Like, he's leaving that pocket space in that left side.
Yeah, Victor Sanchez, a goal's a goal no matter what. Thank you so much, Victor. Skeeter Jeep, every attack is up to the wing, random crosses, and hope there is a purple in the center to finish. I agree with you. There needs to be more developing. We need to have a 10. I feel like, um, it's either some games, are going to be played 4-4-2. Some games are going to be playing 4-2-3-1, but they gotta be able. In this league, you gotta be able to readjust tactically. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm only a 4-2-3-1 team." If not, everybody's going to know how to play you. I mean, you can't be that predictable. It says Muriel has a choice to drop into the 10, otherwise he'll never get the ball, says E. Tramic. Also, Rodolfo Chang, why does Ojeda took the free kick? Lodero already scored in the location the previous game.
I think it wasn't Ojeda. I think it was Dagger Dan who, I think, right? I don't remember now. Or
No, I think it was Ojeda.
it was a couple of free kicks.
They
That's the
are.
problem.
I think that's up to the players. If you ask me, I think they just decide on the fly. I agree with you too, Rodolfo. I think they got to be more strategic and being able to take advantage of every set piece possible. Um, because that's how you make people happy, by scoring goals. That's how you have fans happy when you win at home. Especially, I mean, almost 22,000 people in this game again.
It
At
was
least it was.
packed.
I mean, it was I mean, Red Bulls right now are a top 5 team in the MLS, in my opinion. And Orlando got the draw, but I mean, it was a hard fought. Like, it was like getting a root canal. You know what I mean?
We
The
we
whole
haven't
game.
we haven't gone against a only Austin. The rest of the games are being back to back super strong opponents. I'm not gonna lie. So
John
let's see.
Rollins.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead, Paula. What are you gonna
No,
say?
no,
I'm
no, I
gonna
was gonna
finish.
say, hopefully this little break that they have, they can recharge and come back with that huge flame that they need to win going forward.
I completely agree, and I mean, in front of them, they're gonna have a team that the past 3 seasons they've been at the bottom of the league. We need to win. I mean, they got to go for the kill, and we'll talk about that later. Great show. 1010 says John would recommend. Thank you. Also, we saw Facu's major issue in this game. His right foot. He came up several times on the right and wasn't able to throw in a cross. Had to come back and switch it to his left. I agree on that. It's that's why I'm saying I feel he'll be better playing on as a 10. not as a right winger. Daniel Phillips, I think a lot of the fan base is suffering from unmet expectations. Red Bulls are really good, and we have been underperforming. All things considered, it wasn't a bad result, and we can build on it. No, I agree. I mean, the fans are upset, for sure. You know, I appreciate fans that are, positive, like Daniel Skeeter G, Rodolfo Chang, Tromic, Victor Sanchez, that obviously are upset. And I mean, me too. I like, and I'm saying, I would like to see more of. I want to see the Facu Torres of last season, but also, again, there's others that do it for the trolling, do it for the ho 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 ho, like for the chuckles, and there's other ones that just, just I want to grab one of my dog's poopy bags and just carry their comments sometimes, because it's just sometimes it's caca poopy, you know what I mean? So some of the stuff that comes out, and I remain very calm and collective, but sometimes, it's like that, and then, I wish, and I still say, being April 1st, if Jared Dillon is listening, I would like to have press versus fans game at Explorer Stadium, and I
I
want to
can be the
see.
water girl.
Right. I want to see that. I'll play. I'll play. I'm a great center back, man. I'm like Aurelien Collin. Boom, boom. No, I'm just kidding. Red card. Like automatically, Lewis, you're being ejected of the game. Oh man. I'm just kidding. Rodolfo Chang, the last 5 minutes, we were tight, and with two big guys up front, we never tried to ball into the red zone. Having more possession is ineffective if there's little effort required for the defense. Yeah, I mean, don't you feel, Paola, that we overtouched the ball on the attacking third? Like,
Always.
I feel we overtouched the ball too much.
Like I cannot even explain why. I don't know why. Like I'm watching the game, and every time that they overtouch the passes, the ball, I'm like, why you do that? Like why? Or I don't know if you notice, but they take forever to pass the ball to the free player. Have you noticed that? Like like an example, Daggerdan most likely and Facu, they're in the right field, they're by themselves, and then when they get defenders, they pass the ball to them. I don't know if you have noticed that, but I have
Yeah, I
noticed a couple
have.
of times.
I will have to say they're shooting. They're shooting more. They're shooting the ball more. Got
That's
14
true.
total, 14 total shots, but only 3 on target. So that is a really horrible number. Uh, you know, again, we've had the whole game, Paula, 7 corner kicks, and we
I
have,
cringe.
right. You know what I mean? So again, these are things that are coming up, and that's what's making the fan base upset. I think the fans don't care about how they score the goal. What they care about is just getting the win, and I agree with them 100% on that end. 14 free kicks, 30 throw-ins. All these are little set pieces here and there. 8 shots inside the box for Orlando in this game. 8 shots inside the box, and 6 shots were outside the box. So Orlando's trying. It's just they're not putting in. They're not scoring, and that's something that they're gonna have to get better at. There's a lot of, and we'll see what Oscar said in just a moment. Alonso Elinka, they have 2 days off. Alonso Elinka today, man, he gave me a heart attack today. Alonso gave me a heart attack today when I'm like, Pedro
Me too.
Galese going back to Alianza Lima. I was like, oh man, no, not you, Not you, Alonso. And then I realized it was April Fools.
I Me
Uh,
too.
and so I sent a tweet today with Adrian Winter. Adrian Winter, lovable character, um, being signed, coming out of retirement to sign for Orlando City, right? I want to say hello to Alonso. Buena tarde, buena tarde. This is Santos was smoked at least 5 times this game. He should have changed after minute 40 after for the 45th minute. It was so apparent and the Red Bulls took advantage. Poor decision. Yeah, I agree with
I
you there.
agree.
I will say this. I think Oscar took a little longer to make the substitutions in this game. I agree there. It's just, I mean, look, if we would have put Shaq or Abdi Salim there, I think we would have been okay. Because I agree with Rodolfo. I think he was an open door in this game. Um, Frankie Amaya, that's where he tried to attack the whole time. He tried to go forward. Number 8.
I
He tried
think
to,
Go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead. No, I was gonna say, I think when people see films from Orlando City, they see that open space. That is an open door for their attack because Rafa goes up and he doesn't go down as fast as he should. Just just a reminder, if the next game Rafa Santos plays, hopefully he plays like in the last few minutes or he recoups, who knows? You will see that he leave empty spaces in that flank.
Yeah. Gnocchi. Strong foundation starts with defense. Correct. The best offense is a great defense, right? No brick, no brick, no brick. How do you say it? Brecalo?
Brecalo.
No Brecalo. There you go. No Brecalo. No Cesar Araujo or Cartagena makes the offense go deep. Uh, yes, and again, Oscar explained why he didn't put them in, and because I've heard, I've listened, I and you gotta you gotta talk with you gotta have you have to back up your words sometimes. You can't just say things for saying things. You have to maybe look at our footage that is time stamped and and look what Oscar said. It's not coming from me. Don't kill the messenger. Kill, you know. Um, Araujo didn't play. For actually, they found out that day that Araujo was ready to play. He was given the okay by the medical team, so that's why he was in the bench. Obviously, they're
Superman.
going to make him start if he just got cleared. Common sense, right? Obviously. Cartagena flew and got to Orlando at almost 1 a.m. Are you going to
And
make
he
him?
still trained, right?
He trained, but Oscar felt he didn't want to rush him. That's just a technical decision and also a player decision, because you have to understand Cartagena played a whole entire game, against Dominican Republic and Nicaragua. So he did play both games. So he knows, and he actually catches himself saying this in the post press conference. He says, I need to find, when I asked him about the double pivot, he says, I need to find a consistent lineup. So that means you're going to see them again in the double pivot, more than likely. Why? Because they're the ones who should be, instead of Nicola Dera, should be Cartagena, instead of Calvin, should be Araujo. But Araujo is going to take a little time. So this break is actually great for Araujo, and Cartagena is going to be ready. But I think it's going to be great for Araujo. Now, Brecalo, for sure. I think he came in. He was great. I think he's definitely going to be a starter. But I think Oscar dives into what he knows it's going to work. That's what I could see, right? I'm not saying that's correct. Yes, I would like to see Kyle Smith playing on the right back or left back position, but the coach feels Kyle, and didn't Kyle have a great game, or he had a bad game for you, Paola? What do you think,
I
Kyle?
mean, I think Kyle did a better job against Austin.
Yeah,
Um,
completely agree with you.
and I mean, the guy is working in the midfield as much as he can. He's not natural midfield. He's a center back or a left back. So I think he's doing a good job. Now with that penalty kick against Morgan, that was a little funky, but refs are being refed. And I think he did better on the Austin game. I don't know if you agree or not. He's still doing a great performance, but um Austin game he did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I mean Austin, he was like Cesar Araujo
On
times
point,
two,
yeah, 2.0.
right? Um, in this game, not so much. I do agree with you. I think he had a lot of turnover issues too, and a lot of issues like that. Now, why? But why, Lewis? But well, you're not asking the right questions. Why? Why is Dagger Dan on there playing on the right flank, and that should be Kyle there? Well, the coach deems, and I agree with him in a way, Facundo doesn't mark anybody. So Dagger is actually going to be the one driving the ball through the flank to Facundo and also helping Facundo mark. So he felt he's gonna be there. It's something that he's been playing over a season in that position. That's what's gonna help him. Now, Kyle, maybe he felt Van Zier playing on that side with Carmona, maybe Peter Stroud was going to be a little bit too much, putting too much on Kyle. Maybe he decided, hey, just try to contain Frankie Amaya. You and Nico try to contain Frankie Amaya, try to contain Luis Morgan. Because Luis Morgan will also drop back too. And Van
Yeah,
Sier will go up
I saw it
front.
a couple of times.
Yeah, and then
Morgan
they will
doing that.
switch. Like they will actually switch. Lewis will go up front, and then Dante will be back. So, maybe he felt he needed somebody rougher on the edges, something that is more physical. And Kyle could be very physical, sometimes overly too physical, as you see in the
Like on
penalties, right?
Saturday. Hmm.
Right. But he needed some punch. I'm going to use his word. Oscar's new word is punch. We need the punch. He needed that defensive punch on there. And he felt, hey, Dagger is doing great on the flank, on the attack, and helping Facundo mark. When the other team goes into transition, let me use Kyle in the middle to have some punch. And Nico could also have that and create a play here and there. Again, probably didn't work, but at least you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
And he said it on your question, Luis, that he wants consistency on the lineup. So if he puts Dagger on the mid and then Kyle back on the defensive lineup, he's not gonna have the consistency. I think Dagger is gonna be there for the rest of the season. I don't see him being on the mid. So
Yeah, Rodolfo Chang. Frankly, Red Bulls are not great. The best thing about Orlando players was the physical effort they put on the pitch, but the offense looked disjointed. What do you think about that comment, Paula? I agree in a way.
I mean, they were. I think it was just the defensive that they were on point, and then the freaking goalkeeper was was
Yeah,
the only shots that we were having. He was like boom right there, or Sean Nealis. Man, he was like right there at the moment that we were shooting the ball. Like
he
it was
knew
luck.
he knew how to mark. Also, he knew how to neutralize Duncan.
Duncan, yep. He and
Right.
Duncan were physical and they were exchanging words at some point.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think it was just the defensive that it was on point. The rest they were meh. They were okay.
I
I don't know
feel
how. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I do feel when Rodolfo says disjointed, I will take that word and put it to Facu. I feel if you have Muriel creating in transition, Orlando goes into attack, Muriel drops as the 10, when everybody says, oh, he's playing the 10, right? Drops. Duncan goes up top. Sean Nealis and Andre Reyes doing a phenomenal job marking him. Who's gonna put the jersey on and said, hey, I'm here, Papa. I'm here. Let me go ahead and and drive that ball deep. Should be either Ivan Angulo, which we see and we saw, and also should be Facu Torres. And that's what people say that. Because in these moments in which you have such a great backline, like Red Bulls had against Orlando, um, you need to have your 10 come out of the woods and at least give you something that is going to make create something, a shot from distance from Nicoladero, a shot from distance from Muriel, an assistance to maybe Ivan driving the ball deep, so I think that's what people are expecting. I don't know, what are your thoughts regarding that?
I agree, and that's what we saw last season. Like score from the wings, and we haven't seen that. So
GoldTube TV, Pineda, tranquilo que te hago 3 guachas. Yo sé, papá, no te preocupes. El señor es como Messi, es argentino. Sorry, I'm just saying, the GoldTube, he's half Peruvian, half Argentinian by marriage, right? So he obviously can play. This guy actually could play. Because he says, I really wish we won Saturday, says Joshua Tall. Also, we should shoot more when we get near the net. Lewis says, I'm also definitely glad we didn't lose. Hopefully we can start winning streak when we get back. Joshua Tall, Galese had some key saves during the second half. I agree. El Pulpo was going to start.
oh yeah, for
It was
sure.
obvious. Daniel Phillips, I actually don't care about defense. I don't care if they score 10 as long as we score 11. It's incredible to feel like we could put 3 or 4 up on anyone. Now I'm surprised when we score. Eventually, Daniel,
Touche.
I think there's gonna be one game, hopefully it's the next one, in which everything is gonna work. And you're gonna see goal from Muriel, goal from Duncan. You're gonna see the backflip. You're gonna see goal from Ivan, goal from Facu. Now,
Ojeda that needs a goal. Poor man.
now,
Poor man.
what are your thoughts regarding this too? I wanted to ask you, Paula. Ojeda starting instead of Facu. Tell me straight up what you feel about that.
I mean, what I have seen this season is Ojeda. Every time that Ojeda is in the starting lineup or coming from the bench, we play more offensively. Like we're attacking more. I don't know if I love his crosses, like changing the ball from one side to the other. Like his changes of court are precise. And what happened? Like what happened when we score? Ivan Angulo um crosses to Jacqueline and Ojeda was there too. So I think, in my opinion, Ojeda should start going forward. But I'm not a coach. You're not a
Right,
coach,
right.
Luis, unfortunately.
Clearly, we're not Oscar. Clearly, also the club has put all the posters is going to be Facu Torres.
He's the golden boy.
He took the Olympic the Olympic torch
Forge.
from Nani, right? And said, you're going to carry this, right? Now, when you're given that responsibility, and I know he has it because he's shown it last season too, you need to have that leadership presence and also being able to score goals and make people happy, because that's what you have to do. Now we're not seeing that. And sometimes it takes, just like in any job, it takes either competition or someone in trying to take your spot that's hungrier than you for you to realize, shit, this guy's about to take my job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like people were saying that Mason should start over Galese because Galese, had several positional issues in several games that maybe costed a couple of goals, right? Especially Minnesota, right? So uh, I agree with that. I agree that maybe with the fans that say that Ojeda needs to start. If that's what Oscar wants to do, I think that's a great idea
I
to
mean,
put
if we go
some fire
back,
in him because he needs it.
I mean, if we go back to the 4-2-3-1 formation, I would put Ojeda in the middle. I will sit down
Right.
Maguire, put Muriel there,
As a
right,
striker, right?
as a striker.
Mhm.
Torres in the same position and Angulo in the same position.
Yeah.
And then we go double pivot. That's an option.
Yeah.
I don't know if gonna work,
We may
but
go we may go to that, too. I just feel like if it's a 4-4-2 and Facundo's not working out, you are not going to just lose games just because you put Facu there, or you're going to lose attacking prowess because you want to just put Facundo there. If
Mhm.
something's happening, you need to take the bull by the horns and make it happen. So uh, if that's what's going to take for him to wake up and smell the coffee, you got to do what you got to do. But I feel Hater right now, he definitely, when he comes in, it's a whole change of attitude in the starting, in the attacking third for Orlando City. So he's becoming very important. Now, I would love to see also Ramiro, see what he does when he comes back from injury as well.
Man, where is Ramiro? I missed that dude.
Right? Yeah. So it says Skeeter G, but sometimes feels Ojeda has no soccer smarts. It's like nobody coached this kid that it's a team sport. Once he sees the box, he gets the blinders on. Unacceptable as a DP.
I think
Well,
he got better this season than last season. Last season was worse. He was just shooting the ball.
no, I agree. I mean, look, all right, guys, I'm about to. I think I've said it before, but the way Orlando City signs their players are low cost, high reward. So you understand what I'm saying? They have a way of, you know, I'm getting something for this much, but I'm going to make it be worth triple. Kind of like a house, like a mortgage, right? Um, that's the way Orlando's building their squad. They have a great core, they have great players, things. But if you see a lot of the players that they're bringing in too, they come from clubs. Either they've been always been playing loaned out, like Rafael Santos, Ivan Angulo, and these are in their starting squad, right? To understand where they are mentally, how they've handled things the past 2 seasons before they get to Orlando. You have Rodrigo Schlegel being a backup in Racing. You having Cal Smith coming from USL. You have Facundo Torres playing in Peñarol, but he was a goal scorer, but he wasn't the drill general in that team. He was not the captain. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Martin Ojeda comes from Godoy Cruz, a small team in Argentina. It's not Boca, it's not River. So exposure to winning, they're getting it with Orlando. Exposure to be a protagonist, they're getting it with Orlando City. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes for them, it takes a little while, maybe mentally, to have that backpack, the heavy backpack of being that team that everyone expects them to be, because it maybe is their first or second time they've ever wore that big of a backpack. But if you bring in a player maybe that have played Santos, like maybe Peck, that played in Vasco da Gama, was one of the Brasileirao top scorers that the Galaxy got, or you bring maybe somebody from River or from Boca Juniors that have played in that level, then at that point you would say these are players that, yes, it's going to take a while to get them adaptable, but we'll get that leadership presence maybe a little better because they know what it takes. They've gone to finals. They've gone to finals. They've gone to semifinals, quarterfinals. They've done playoff pushes. They already come with that level of intensity. So, not saying and not discrediting the players. They have what it takes. It's taking a little while for them to develop that mentally. Now, the good thing about Orlando City is that they got a core. Now, let's see what they can do after this break. I have no doubt that they're gonna. I mean, I think the game against DC, and we'll talk about that right now. Actually, let's look at um, the schedule. So we have DC on April 13th, right? We're playing. We go to DC on April 13th, and then we get Montreal over there in French Canada, right? um, and then we come back here and play Toronto. Tough Toronto because Toronto are doing really good. What are your expectations of what's to come? Because the calendar, the schedule gets tougher, in my opinion.
I mean, hopefully God listened to my prayers. That this little break that they are having, it's gonna be for good, not for bad. And I think they know, like based on Jensen words in the press conference. If you haven't seen it, go to our channel, Loud and Proud Orlando. You will see the press conference. Ivan Angulo talks, Jansen talks, and Oscar Pareja talks. And Jansen said, "We know that we're missing the attacking, and hopefully this little break we can recoup and come back." So I think it's gonna be tough, but I know that this team can do it. We saw it last season. I think, like Danny Phillips said, I think the high expectations that we had for this team has had us be so sad lately. But I think there's a comeback coming
No, I
um
agree.
soon. So
Of
let's see
course, I
what
mean
happens.
you had I think for the first time in a long time, a lot of the pundits, a lot of the Tom Bogerts, and a lot of the pundits saying Orlando's gonna win the MLS, and clearly after that first game, it was like back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity, right? Like Eminem. So it was just like hit us hard. And I totally agree. I just totally rapped, guys. Where do you see that in a podcast? Only here at LPL. I'm just saying. So I think the schedule gets tougher and tougher. DC is going to be tough, but I think we can definitely win this game. I have no doubt. Montreal is going to be tough, but I think after watching film, and I think the boys are going to come out. Hopefully after a DC win, they're going to go all the way through French Canada. I think it's just going to get tougher for us at home. I mean, we're playing Cincy and we're playing Miami. Well, Miami with all los Galácticos, or all the Galácticos, man.
The
We're gonna be.
Ricky Pooch Galacticos, let's say it like that.
That's right. You have to play with the Flamingos right here at home, which I know it's gonna be a sold out crowd.
Man, why they put in a Wednesday? It's so awkward. I'm going. I'm still
Just make
going.
sure. All I want is just no fights,
Yeah.
because there's gonna be right, just no fights, guy. No fighting. Keep it professional. But I will say, just to kind of then read more comments. To me, one of the two players that have been, to me, the best two in the whole entire team, and I don't know what are your thoughts regarding that, Paola, is Robin Jensen and Dagger Dan. 94% passing rate of of um, of Jansen. 94% of accurate passing. Better than a 6, better than an 8. And then Thor Halson, in my opinion, was the engine that Orlando had on the right side.
He has been the engine
He
lately.
actually outperformed our DP, and that's why people are upset, and that's why people like Jim D, which also comments on our show all the time. I want to say hello to Jim D. He says put him as a right winger. Honestly, that Nordic, game, that whole connection, Nordic connection, is just helping so much, and it's the most consistent two players we've seen all since the beginning of the season. Would you agree with that, or what are your thoughts regarding them too?
No, I wholeheartedly agree about that. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. And another thing that I think we need to work on tremendously is, this whole possession game and playing with one pass, doing all these fancy passes and trying to control the mid with possession. We had, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have my Opta sheet right now, that they provided. Right now, I put it away, but I think it was about 630 passes, I believe, that Orlando had,
I can
and the
check
Red
that
Bulls had,
number for you.
yeah,
Let me
and then
see.
the Red Bulls had like around
268.
654, right? 654 passes throughout the game, right? I think it was like
I
that.
mean, well, let me see.
It was like it was like a almost it was like double. Like, so we doubled the Red Bulls in passes, and it wasn't enough to get the W. That's
I
that's
mean,
what I'm trying to say.
I can only see accurate passes, and we did 577, and they did 268 only.
Right. Okay, so let's say 500, let's say 500 to 200. That's still a 300 gap there of passes that we've created that they have not. What are we doing, right? I think this whole possession game, it's just becoming very nerve-wracking, and with a team that presses the ball too deep, like the Red Bulls, it wasn't enough playing that like that, so also, because we're holding the ball so much, we are not we're not scoring goals. I feel that we're not scoring. Our finishing quality is it's pretty terrible. And I know that Oscar said it on the press conference, the finishing touch. We need to work on the finishing touch. So I feel like if they get that right, it's going to be a snowball effect for Orlando to start getting some wins, and probably back-to-back wins. Once they figure out, how to finish the play, it's going to just snowball effect for a bunch of victories for Orlando City, because the rest of the stuff they do, I feel like it's good. I mean, numbers wise, and I already mentioned earlier, looks pretty good to me, right? It's just they're not finishing, right? Do you believe that too?
It's a reflection of last season. I'm just gonna say it. Last season we were not finishing, and then we start after summer. And Jansen said it on the press conference. Hopefully, it's not they don't wait until the summer. They wait like it comes earlier. So it's like you said, Luis, it's a snowball effect, and hopefully now we're gonna shoot and not be in. Are we still negative in goal differentials? Let me see. I haven't even checked, but we might be still negative. So hopefully against DC United, Montreal, Toronto, all of those games we score more than 3. I'm optimistic. Let's see what happens. And I need a hat trick from some of our players. What do you think about that, Luis? We haven't seen a hat trick in so long.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. We need to see. I know there's going to be one game that everything's going to click. I mean, you could see it in the attack momentum, and this is going to be. Look at the attack momentum. The green is all Orlando. Orlando dominated most of the attack momentum the whole entire game, but we drew the game. That's the thing. That this is what people are getting upset. It's because despite the Red Bulls having less chances, less creation, they rescued a draw, obviously off a penalty kick, right? But a draw nonetheless. And then look how much we've tried throughout the whole entire game, and we also get a draw, and kind of like a felt. Usually if you're at home and you draw home, it kind of feels like a defeat. It feels like we lost 2 points,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So, and I would understand why fans will feel that way. Um, we need to
I
do
think
better. We
I
need to do
think we
better
got
than that.
lucky too because Red Bull had two chances that they could score, and then we got that own goal. I think the soccer gods were in our favor on Saturday.
That's right. Loud and Proud Orlando on YouTube, 794 subscribers. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You will help us a lot. If you're a player, if you're a puppy in, puppy out, if you're a burner account, uh, subscribe and you will help us out tremendously. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and to provide you the best content possible. Um, let's look at the let's look at the tail of the tape. I mean, I think that we saw already the goal, right? I'm gonna give myself a like right there. Um, let's see what Oscar Perez has said. Right, this is the double pivot question, as I mentioned. Let's listen to Oscar. Thank you, Profe. Following up on that question, when it comes to Nico Lodero, great performance on
The
completing
hard hitting
passes just as
questions.
created. Same with Kyle. Now that international duty is over, you're taking a week rest. Are we going to see the double pivot again with Wilder and Cesar? How did you see Cesar today on the pitch? Thank you.
Cesar is a good news because until this morning, today, he was out of the roster. So
So he says, as you understood, right? He was out of the roster. So obviously, it's not because he doesn't know what he's doing, and it's not because he has two national team players on the bench. You're not putting them. It's because he deems that he's not going to put somebody that just got out of medical clearance to play as a starter, unless you feel froggy and you want your six to re-injure again.
um, we discussed and with doctors and Cesar, and we dared all to push, and Cesar performed well in his testing. So I could have Cesar in the bench and brought him into the game. That I see him very well. So that's a great news to have him healthy. And Wilder as well. Wilder get here on Thursday night, midnight probably, and he trained with us on Friday morning. Um, have them both available again is a great news for us, and there's a lot of work to do. But surely they have played together for long, right? And we'll see. We have these 2 weeks that we need to work, and then trying to just have more consistent lineups. That
You see, we need to have more consistent lineups. I mean, yes, I agree on that part. He's making an auto. He's auto criticizing his decisions in a way.
that would help. I describe
Now, another one, and like I said, is all timestamp right here. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, I think it's a great question because we are here to assume that responsibility. It's easy to be
Now listen to this part.
in the bench and or in the standings and say why the players didn't do this or why didn't do that or why he doesn't pass the ball to the other
It's easy to be
I mean,
right. I'm just saying.
one, right? And I won't never who said that. I think I had a big responsibility on that part. I need to create the final of the sequence where I can probably bring more, um, I'm gonna say, zonally more advantage to finish, and they
So what's he saying there? Because I know he's trying to translate Spanish to English. My dad does it all the time. When he says zonally means their position. So he needs to position the players off with the ball, not with the ball, off with the ball, positioning them in transition where they could feel when they have the ball, make it easier for them to be scoring goals, essentially. So he's pretty much saying that the positioning sometimes of the players, it's not what that's his responsibility. And he's gonna work onto maybe doing that more and drilling that so we can maybe open the floodgates. But clearly he says, it's easier said than done, right? It's easier it's easier than for you to it's standing, what he says, for people that are in the standings or people that are on the bench, it's easy to say why this player not performing this way, so he kind of in a way give you a jib jab right there, you know what I'm saying? Beep beep, he te tocó la corneta, clack, clack, right? En mi país se dice te tocó la corneta, clack, clack, right? In a way, but I kind of understand, he understands introspectively that obviously he needs to work.
can maybe have that space and time where they make good decisions. It's not happening, and I have to come out with something and help them. They are bringing a lot of energy, and they have the quality. The players that we have, they have the quality. So I need to be better for sure.
There you go. I need to be better.
I mean, the worst thing is someone who doesn't recognize, right? And Oscar is like, hey, I need to do better. So,
right.
and people people don't see this type of thing. Like he knows that he needs to create a plan for us to secure that ball into the net. Let's say it like that. So I admire Oscar just to raising his hand and say, I have to do something.
That's
Not
right.
every single manager does that on the sport.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, he's making, but people are saying, "Oh, but I don't care." I'm sure. I'm assuming this because people assume a lot, so I'm allowed to assume too. Some people are going to say, "No, but you gotta. All we care is about winning, man." And yeah, you're yes, there are fans of the result and there's fans, right? So clearly we have both types, and but we have to acknowledge one common thing is that the team's not scoring goals, and he realizes it, and he even says the boys are playing with a lot of intensity and a lot of energy. It's on me now. Pretty much saying it's on me. So let's see what they can do on the break. Like I said, it's going to be tough. Here he talks about Gel again and why Kyle Smith started. Let's play that little quick right here.
To look more or to have more cohesiveness and more glue in there. Knowing
Glue.
that we play well today. I think we play well today. I don't want the frustration just to dark or think that
He says, I don't want frustration to tarnish the team. This is pretty much what he's saying.
we're not good. No, we play well today, but we didn't have punch. The function of Kyle today on helping us
There you go.
while Cesar and gets better from his health and Wilder came from a national team. I think has been fantastic. He's helping us a lot, and Nico is helping us too. and now I'm good to have Cesar and Wilder, and we'll see how can we do this couple of weeks and present the team that not just play well but win games. That's what we need to do.
So he felt, just to kind of, he felt having Kyle there with Nico was that defensive punch to hold the mid, right? Was maybe the closest thing to a Cesar and a
To
Wilder,
replace them. Yep.
right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously Kyle conceded a penalty, right? Right.
I saw a dive, but okay, fine.
Right. Right. So all I'm saying is, that's the reason why he played there. He needed that punch. I'm gonna use his word now. That's a new word,
I'm
punch.
not gonna say double pivot anymore. I'm gonna say
N-
double punch.
Now we need to see that attacking punch now, and he knows we need that attacking punch. We need that boom. Once that first punch occurs, I'm telling you right now, I think it's gonna be a snowball effect, and I think we're gonna start seeing that team score and score and score. But we need to also take advantage of our set pieces and our shots from distance and the shooting that we're doing, so it becomes even more goals on ours, and it will make us a very unpredictable team. Because if you are the type of team that attacks in transition very well, how to set your back line if you're facing me. But if you have the unpredictability that not only I can attack you in transition, but also you have to watch out positionally how you mark me, because I can score you of a set piece, of a corner kick, of whatever. That's going to make us an even more dangerous team away, which it was our strength last season, wasn't it, that Paola? We were beasts away.
We were the away kings.
Mm-hmm. So, well, let's I feel like this is going to be great, this whole break, and we'll see how that pans out. Before we go, I want to thank everybody that joined us today. I also want to give a huge kudos to Orlando City SC Academy, the U15 Lions. They clinch a spot in the GA Cup, right? Knockout round with a win against the Revs. Jacob Garcia, Matthew Belgodere, and also Zach Ola score each goal in today's shout-out victory. Shout out to the boys right there in purple. The future is purple for sure. They played in Bradenton, so it's great. It's great to see that kids are definitely doing great for the team. Also, let's give some kudos. Also, these are some more pictures right here that they had on the GA Cup. They're playing with the Sunshine Kids, right? There you go. I still need to get one of those. I don't have mine. And also, our U17 Lions, they had a fort. They fought until the final whistle, just like it says on there. They lost against the LA Galaxy 2-0. They got eliminated, but still, we wanted to give them praise for the young Lions, that they represented the club colors with a lot of dignity. So, anything you want to add, Paola, before we go? Anything that I'm forgetting? Because I forget a lot.
No, I think we talked every single point that we want to talk tonight. Don't forget, people who are listening, subscribe. We're 6 people away to get to 800 subscribers. So don't forget about that. We do this because we love and we have a passion for Orlando City, and that will help us grow. And just hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you can get any notifications. So I think I feel optimistic, Luis. I didn't feel that we played like Oscar said. We didn't play bad, but we're missing the important thing, goals. So
Oh,
I feel optimistic. Let's see what this break, hopefully it will maintain us in a good positive way and not break us. So
for sure. Before we go, and I just remember this. My apologies, Paola.
I don't know, you're fine.
OCB. Um, Well, let me share my screen. Why is it not sharing my screen? Am I sharing my screen? Oh yeah, it is right there. OCB. They they score 1-1, and then they claimed a shootout point for following the draw. Honestly, they're doing great. I do want to say OCB is at the top of the Eastern Conference for the MLS Next Pro, with one more game played than most teams. The Young Lions have earned 5 out of the possible 6 points. So I do want to say that Carlos Mercado in goal has been great. You saw Tahir Reed Brown, Manuel Coca, Nabi Kibugunchi, and obviously Zakaria Taifi, right? Also, El Toro, Colin Gusk, I will say phenomenal kid, young talent. Yutaro Sukada as well, and Justin Ellis, right? Some of the most protagonist players in that squad right now. So they're doing really well. Let's give also all their support. Sincerely, I feel like the future is purple, and you see it with the academy now. You see it with OCB, and also that brings to my point. Also, tomorrow, I think we have a Pride Pod. I don't know if John will be here, but tomorrow we have a Pride Pod, and the ladies of Orlando Pride, they also had a draw against the Red Stars, the third consecutive tie to start the 2024 NWSL season. So don't forget tomorrow, 7:30, the Pride Pod. Paola, anything you want to add before we go?
Yes. Tiro de Esquina podcast. We're gonna record our latest episode probably tomorrow or Wednesday. Just subscribe to our channel so you can get that notification when we upload that episode. There it is, Tiro de Esquina podcast in YouTube. So please, 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 if you like the Spanish content, just follow us.
And don't forget to follow us on our social media outlets at LPO_podcast on X. We finally reached 1,000 followers on Twitter. I wanted to thank each and every one of you on behalf of John, Paola, and myself for all your support, and all the likes, retweets, comments, um, and everyone. Thank you so much, because that's what makes us provide the best content possible. As well, Instagram, we're growing as well at LP_podcast. We also have a Facebook, Loud and Proud Orlando, LP_podcast. And on YouTube, 794 subscribers right now. Let's get to that 800 mark. We're like right there. And also you can listen to us audio form on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Also, I know that to the people that I saw at the stadium this weekend too, thank you so much for all your support. That you guys, always tell me that you guys are listening to the pod and you guys have fun listening to the pod. That you've made it part of your everyday, life, kind of like what I do now, also. So it's awesome to see that that we're growing, and that you guys are definitely enjoying the content that we do. And we do it for the City Beautiful, to be a positive influence here in the community. That's our number one goal. But also to promote Orlando City. Everywhere you can listen to us, we'll be there. So thank you so much, guys. We'll see you guys. I don't know if there'll be a Thursday show. I'm not quite sure yet. I don't know if there may be a guest. I'm not sure. Or a pre-recorded video, but follow us on our social media so you get more information. Without we go, let's just end it up with Vamos,
Vamos
Orlando.
Orlando.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful night.